Office hours, there we go. Y'all know the drill. Any questions, concerns, ideas? Share them in the comments, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep working. Still something wrong with the comments, it seems like, but I don't know. If you guys can comment, feel free. Looks like the like button still works. All right. Good. Type up this page. We can go straight to the conglomerate because that's my big money maker, and we got other stuff kind of getting in the way of that. Stay occupied. Actually, you know what? I need to get rid of some of these tabs. Here we go. What I'm going to do is go to this real quick. Let's do some of this research real quick. Knock one of these out. Okay. So, rites of passage. A rite of passage is a ceremonial ritual making an individual's transition from one social, cultural, or biological status to another. Common examples include birth, puberty, marriage, and death. These ceremonies celebrate life changes, ease transitions, and reinforce communal values. The three stages of a rite of passage. The foundational structure of a rite of passage was outlined by French ethnographer Arnold in his work Les Rites de Passage. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly. This of three distinct phases. One, separation. The individual is physically or symbolically detached from their original group or status. Two, transition or liminality. A person of ambiguity where the individual is between their old life and their new status, often involving tests, isolation, or instruction. And then three, incorporation. The individual is formally reintroduced into their community in their new role with new rights, responsibilities, and status. Why rites of passage matter? While traditionally linked to biological milestones, these ceremonies serve vital community functions. They provide emotional comfort, help individuals manage identity shifts, and create shared meaning within the community. For an in-depth look at how cultures classify and practice these ceremonies, check out Britannica's definition. Chapter 6. So, hold on, read a little bit. We'll go to some of the conglomerates here. So let's read a couple paragraphs or so. Chapter 6, Cultural and Environmental Factors in Interpersonal Communication. Hold on. All right. There's a picture here in the front of the chapter. Says a group of Mexican women wearing traditional clothing. Pretty cool. I feel like more people should wear that on an everyday basis. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if with all the frills and stuff like that, but like at least like the part where they're picking up the dress and going like, what? That looked pretty cool. I like it. There's like slide up under there. I'm just kidding. No, it does look aesthetically pleasing. It does look pretty cool. Plus all the different colors combo. It's nice. Very like artistic. I like it. Very, it's eccentric, but exhibits culture. Cool. I like it. I'm for it. One of the most important factors in our understanding of communication is culture. Each of us has grown up in a unique cultural environment, and this culture has shaped how we communicate. Culture is so ingrained in who we are that we often don't even recognize our own culture. In this chapter, we will explore culture and its impact on interpersonal communication. All right, what is culture? Learning objectives. 1. Define the term culture as used in communication studies. 2. Describe how culture influences beliefs, values, norms, rules, and behaviors. 3. Differentiate between dominant cultures, co-cultures, and microcultures. Identify examples of co-cultural and microcultural groups in everyday life. And 5. Explain how cultural learning shapes individuals' worldviews and practices. When people hear the word culture, many images often come to mind. Perhaps you immediately think of attending the ballet, an opera, or an art museum. Other people think of traditional dress like that seen from Mexico in the picture at the top of the chapter. However, the word culture has a wide range of meanings for many people. For example, when you travel to a new country or even a state within your own country, you expect to encounter different clothing, languages, foods, rituals, etc. The term culture is a highly debated concept among academics. In 1952, A. L. Kroeber and Clyde Kluckholm compiled a list of 164 definitions for the word culture. Culture is often described as the way we do things. In their book, the authors noted, considering that the concept of culture has had a name for less than 80 years, it is not surprising that full agreement and precision has not yet been attained. Kroeber and Kluckholm predicted that eventually science would land on a singular definition of culture as it was refined through the scientific process. Unfortunately, the idea of a single definition of culture is no closer to becoming a reality today than it was in 1952. For our purposes, we're going to talk about culture as a group of people who, through a process of learning, are able to share perceptions of the world which influences their beliefs, values, norms, and rules, which eventually affect behavior. Let's break down this definition. First, when we talk about culture, we're starting off with a group of people. One of the biggest misunderstandings that newcomers to cultural studies have is that an individual can have their own personalized culture. Culture is something that is formed by the groups with which we grow up and are involved throughout our lives. Second, we learn about our culture. In fact, culture becomes so ingrained in who we are that we often fail to recognize our own culture and its daily impact on us. Just like language, everyone is hardwired to learn culture. The culture we pick up is ultimately, similar to the environment. I guess learn culture. Everyone is hardwired to assimilate to the environment for survival. I guess learn culture. Yeah, that one's more loose. The culture we pick up is ultimately a matter of the groups we're born into and raised in. Just like a baby born to an English-speaking family isn't going to magically start speaking French out of nowhere, neither will a person from one culture accidentally adopt another culture. Third, what we learn ultimately leads to a shared perception of the world. All cultures have stories that are taught to children that impact how they view the world. If you are raised by Jewish or Christian parents or guardians, you will learn the creation story in the Bible. However, this is only one of many creation myths that have abounded over time in different cultures. The Akamba in Kenya say that the first two people were lowered to earth by God on a cloud. In ancient Babylon and Sumeria, the gods slaughtered another god named We'ila, and out of this blood and clay they formed humans. One myth among the Tibetan people is that they owe their existence to the union of an ogress, not of this world, and a monkey on Gangpo Rai Mountain at Say Tang. Fuck. The Aboriginal tribes in Australia believe that humans are the descendants of gods. Very anthropocentric. Really want to make yourself seem special, don't you? Ultimately, with which creation story we grew up with was a matter of the culture in which we were raised. These different myths lead to very different views of that and of the individual's relationship with both the world and their gods or goddesses. The pantheon. All right. Fourth, the culture in which we are raised teaches us our beliefs, norms, values, and rules. Beliefs are assumptions and convictions held by an individual, group, or culture about the truth or existence of something. For example, in all of the creation myths discussed in the previous paragraph, these are beliefs that were held by many people at various times in human history. Next, we have the values, which are essential and lasting principles or standards held by a culture regarding desirable and appropriate courses of action or outcomes. This definition is a bit complex, so let's break it down. When looking at this definition, it's important first to highlight that different cultures have different perceptions related to both courses of action or outcomes. For example, in many cultures throughout history, martyrdom or dying for one's cause has been something deeply valued. You guys are fucking idiots. Are as such in those cultures, putting oneself in harm's way or course of action or dying, the outcome would be seen as both desirable and appropriate. All right, well, go for it. Get rooted out of the gene pool. Within a given culture, there are guiding principles and standards that help determine what is desirable and appropriate. In fact, many religious texts describe martyrdom as a holy calling. Yeah, it's basically religious leaders telling dumb, gullible people that, hey, if you kill yourself for our cause, then you're going to heaven, you're great. But realistically, what they're doing was just manipulating people that were, um, I don't know, people lesser power, people that were more gullible, people that were not as well educated, and manipulating them into sacrificing their lives so the leaders wouldn't have to sacrifice or inconvenience themselves. I know what the root for that is. Like it's what a lot of religion is based off of. People in power wanting to create authority or laws and rules to manage other people and have authority over those people. And so people in power creating these stories and rules and gods or whatever to keep people in line and afraid and everything like that. So that way they can kind of maximize their reach too. So they're like, if they can only manage this as people, they could say, "Oh, God looks over all this," and so God, 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 and then so people are like, "All right, yeah, sure, God," and so they're like they become more acquiescent, or they're like, "All right, yeah, sure." Maybe they even genuinely believe it. I think people actually, I mean, not I think, but like no, people eventually get to the point where they genuinely believe these things to be true because they don't know any better otherwise. And then people even like get excited about it. They're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna become a martyr. I'm gonna die for this cause." And it's like, damn, it's so fucking sad. It's so sad how like these people in power manipulate people like soldiers to go die fighting wars and sacrifice their lives for these people in power that would literally never ever go fight themselves. Yeah, they're just sending other people into the wood chipper, into the what do you call it, the meat grinder. When realistically, the politicians would probably not be willing to do that themselves. So if you're wanting to take a life, then you have to be willing to sacrifice your life. If you want to go to war, put yourself on the front lines. You're going to be the first to go. And if your cause is really worth fighting, then people are going to keep on fighting it for you. But if you really think a cause is worth dying for, then you are going to be the first one to sacrifice yourself for that cause. I think that sounds appropriate. And then if your cause is really worth fighting for, then other people will die for it too, and they'll keep on fighting for it. But I don't think any cause is really worth dying for. I think people just need to be smart enough to convey their message in a smarter way. All right, perfect. Set it sent. Follow up with this annoying little fucker. I don't know how this guy got a doctor title. This guy is so incompetent. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like I've literally sent him the same information over and over and over again. He's like, "Oh, I still need this. I still need that." Bro, you've already got it sent to you. Like just check your damn email. And he's like, "Oh yeah." Dude, fucking Dr. Mater. Like, fuck you. I just call you Mike. Like you're not a doctor to me. I don't care if you have that doctor title, you gotta be able to earn it. Respect is earned, not simply granted. I don't care if you have that doctor title slapped on your name. Like you haven't earned it with me personally. So like if you want to earn my respect, you have to, keep on acting like a fucking doctor. You can't just have that doctor title or your honor or whatever if you're a judge slapped onto the thing and expect people to treat you according like that way. No. Like you have to consistently uphold that behavior. You have to uphold that standard because if you as soon as you slip up another shit, then it's not honorable. It's not worthy of being called a doctor. And this guy, Mike Mater, is not worthy of being called a doctor. He's sucks at his job, man. I don't know who the hell gave him that doctor title, but whoever knows who gave him that doctor title should be discredited. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Either that or he got this doctor title years ago and has forgotten literally everything he's learned because I don't know how the hell this guy's a doctor. Like, talk to him for about 5 minutes and it's like, hey, this guy seems like this guy was like you just talk to him for a few minutes and guy seems like such a simpleton. Like, apparently he's a doctor though. It says it on his thing. I'm like, I don't believe it, but whatever. Um next within the hold on. Next, within the definition of culture are the concept of norms and rules. Norms are informal guidelines about what is acceptable or proper social behavior within a specific culture. Rules are the explicit guidelines that are generally written that govern acceptable or proper social behavior within a specific culture. With rules, we have clearly, concrete, and explicitly communicated ways of behaving, whereas norms are not concrete, nor are they explicitly communicated. We rarely know a norm exists within a given culture unless we violate the norm or watch someone else violating the norm. The final part of the definition of culture, and probably the most important for our purposes, particularly in the context of interpersonal communication, is that these beliefs, values, norms, and rules govern how people behave. All right, pick up on co-cultures. So like for vocabulary words or just like research topics, I'm putting miscellaneous notes in the description. So uh, it's really gonna take time. I'm literally just gonna be copying and pasting, doing double the work. So don't need to do that unnecessarily. So shit, you slapping, got my lips smacking, we should shake it. I go, holy fuck, how did that just happen? Mm, mm, mm. Perfect. Spread those pussy lips apart and go straight to the center of the Tootsie Pop. How many licks do you think it'll take? expected because obviously work with as well. Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't realize it was still going. Read a passage from the Bible real quick, so we can go ahead and top off this video. Little cherry on top. One over. Okay. Just getting back from the lawyer's office right now, just to fill in. So yeah, as expected, he was basically saying the prosecutor like really does have evidence, and so I was like, as expected, obviously, because yeah, obviously it didn't do shit. So I was over here doing the right thing, trying to prevent Haley from being able to take her keys and drive the car, and somehow I ended up being accused of driving myself, and that sucks. Yeah, if I was driving, I would have really enjoyed being able to enjoy that. I've been wanting to drive for years. Yeah, closest shit I've ever gotten to driving is getting on GTA first person, being able to drive around a little bit. And it's so fucking long. I've been wanting to go to so many places. If I got a chance to drive, dude, I'll go up like north. I'll go up like see so many different like spots I've wanted to go see. For some places, but if I had the luxury to drive, I'd be going places, man. But I don't. So. Yeah, so good news from the lawyer. Just basically, as expected, just they're going through the process and everything, so that's fine. Trying not to get too upset. This is super inconveniencing, but you know, people they don't know everything, they can't see all the details, they can't read each other's minds, and so that sucks because I wish we could just like, you know, read my mind. You can take all the information here, everything I remember, and you can see it for yourself. That'd be super cool. I wish I could do that because like as soon as you could do that, whoever invents that technology, Elon Musk with your Neuralink, can you do something like that? That would be super cool because I feel like that would help exonerate so many people. So that way people can just like, you know, replay the memory and be like, yeah, no, damn, he's right, he didn't do shit. That would be just be like, duh. But the world isn't like that right now. We have to go through this whole entire process and be worried that people might still get it wrong. And that fucking sucks because this is my life and I want to make sure that they get it right. I want to make sure that true justice is here. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm trying to be patient. Just riding the wave, brother. Just trying to get the truth out, trying to get the situation dealt with so I can focus on what's important. Coalescence, Conglomerate, school, everything that I need to do to be able to actually help the world. So we're on track. God's looking out for us. He's on our side. So everything will work in our favor and we will be on mission because, yeah, our mission is aligned with the Lord's mission. Basically, just trying to save people, trying to make this world a better place, create heaven on earth. Sure, we are free people to live, have liberty, while also not coming at the expense of others. So, yeah, reasonably, all that. I've said that before. It's just keep praying. We're doing the right things. We've been doing the right things, and so the Lord's looking out for us. Very clear on my mission. Very clear on what needs to be done. And we will. I can't predict the future, but it's just very complicated. So it seems like other people are doing the best they can, but even the lawyer, when he was talking to me, he realizes that, yeah, like cops can be lazy, they can literally lie, and like it sucks. Like, so I think mine, I don't think he was like trying to blatantly lie. I mean, like, yeah, he was aware of what he's doing when like whoever's filling out the reports, like those officers were aware of what they're doing when they're filling out the reports, and obviously they knew they're not filling it out accurately, but I think that was more just laziness, and I don't think it was total like incompetence. I think it was just them trying to expedite the process, and like they're more just lazy, didn't feel like doing a bunch of work, and so they're just slowly writing down whatever, and that just so happened to create this whole entire situation that spiraled into. And yeah, they're not going to experience any of this. They're not paying for this. They're not having any penalties for this. Like, they're the ones that made the mistake, and guess who pays the price? Yours truly. Yay. That's not justice, but again, that's what we're here for. That's what God's got me here for, to make sure that law enforcement is put in check and that they can't abuse their power. And I mean, they're even enforcers for people higher up, which is the judicial system, which actually are the legislators that actually make the laws. And so they're just passing a bunch of crap and ruling on a bunch of things that really it's not. It's God damn, I'm getting frustrated. All right, I'm trying not to blow up and get like super mad about it, but it just seems ridiculous how we live in a world with so much technology. We live in a world that is should be able to get these things right and adapt and adjust. And I'm realizing that if it affects me, somebody that I know 100% is completely innocent, I know that it's going to affect other people. And there needs to be a stop put to it, and somebody needs to be able to stand up and fight for people. Like, say, Kim Kardashian, she's doing a good job. She's fighting people who are wrongfully convicted. I'd say, and if I was president, I'll be going through be excessive about it. I'd be like giving pardons to people that they shouldn't be in there, like only for non-violent crimes. Violent crimes, that's a different story, as I've said before. But we just need somebody actually standing up for true justice, because people just joining the system that already exists and saying like, yeah, this is great, this is perfect, and then officers like trying to enforce the law that like they're just sheep following, like enforcing whatever other people tell them to enforce, and then those people are just like ruling on whatever's existed before. I'm like, dude, somebody needs to change this. Like, over time, people need to adapt this to society. Like, you can't just like accept like laws the way they are and like expect them to work out like perfectly and be totally fine. Like it's one of my big problems with legislators, like and politicians. Like they try to appear like they're doing something, but realistically, all they end up doing is just passing a bunch of bullshit that makes it look like they're productive, but realistically, like probably a majority of the things they do is a setback, which the other party, as soon as they flip over and goes from like Democrat to Republican or vice versa, the other party overcompensates and does exactly the opposite in the other direction excessively, and it just goes back and forth, and it's this endless fucking cycle of like people going back and forth, just passing a bunch of bullshit legislation, regulations, laws, rules, protocols, whatever the fuck. And people, I think we need to have more long-term studies on these things, as well as case studies. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. I know that. God knows that. And I feel like anybody with half a brain should be able to realize that too. So, like, I'm not, anybody disagrees. I'm not saying like I'm not trying to call you dumb, but it's just like just misguided. So we're gonna set America on a better trajectory, a better path forward. Because right now it seems like it's spiraling out of control. If it's affecting someone like me, then there's really got to be an issue. There's definitely a big issue. And it's got to be resolved. Yep. With God's help, we're going to fix it. We're going to make things right. We are blessed. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that the justice system, which is right now broken, is fixed. We're going to fix it. Hopefully it's not totally broken, because I know I'm still going through a situation which shouldn't be, but we're dealing with that separate. Hopefully it's at least okay enough to get this right. Yeah, I'm just worried, man. I'm just worried that they're gonna make a mistake. Say, just notice a pattern of mistakes that the government makes. Law enforcement makes mistakes constantly, either intentional or malicious or just out of ignorance, laziness, or whatever it is. And so yeah, law enforcement needs to be significantly defunded, and then the judicial system needs to be rectified as well. Into the law that we have, and then look deeper into plea officers, sentencing, and whatever. Yeah, because there's another thing too, where I know for a fact people are accepting plea offers because they're scared of, like, say they're getting sentenced, possibly getting 10 to 20 years, and they have a plea offer where it can be like a few months or something like that, or maybe a few years versus like 10 or 20 years. And people are going to accept that, saying that they're guilty, when realistically, dude, they're fucking terrified. They don't want to spend their whole entire lives, like a whole entire like generation, or whole entire, like, I don't know, almost what feels like a lifetime, like locked up somewhere completely unjustly, just because some prosecutor, some slimeball fucking terrified them into accepting a plea offer. And like innocent people are like literally like saying that they're guilty just because the government scares them into admitting and confessing to something that they didn't do. Justice system, it's definitely an injustice system, and right now I'm experiencing it firsthand, man. But maybe this is God's way of saying, hey, we need people like me. Here I am, send me to help rectify this issue and help prevent other people from suffering from the same circumstances. It's not just me, there are countless others going through this. And it's taking people's lives away. It's taking their time. It's adding stress. It's a detriment to society. Needs a wake-up call. All right, well, we're on mission. Gonna read this little passage, and then I need to take a break because I'm getting frustrated. I want to be able to watch a show where people actually get things right, where things go good, and you don't have to worry about mistakes and errors. People just fucking shit up left and right, and we having to clean up their fucking mess. So, all right, Jesus, speak to me. Here we go. All right, revelation is received through faith. Yeah, there we go. The obedience of faith is to be given to God who reveals. By faith, human beings commit their entire self freely to God, offering the full submission of intellect and will to God who reveals, and freely assenting to the revelation given by him. In order to make this act of faith, the grace of God and the interior help of the Holy Spirit must proceed and assist, moving the heart and converting it to God, opening the eyes of the mind and granting joy and ease to everyone in accepting the truth and believing it. To bring about an even deeper understanding of revelation, the same Holy Spirit constantly brings faith to completion by his gifts. And you just finish up the page here. We'll do one more. The truths revealed. Sorry. Through divine revelation, God chose to show forth and communicate both himself and the eternal decisions of his will regarding the salvation of human beings. That is to say, he chose to share with them the divine treasures that totally transcend the understanding of the human mind. As the Sacred Synod has affirmed, God, the beginning and end of all things, can be known with certainty from created reality by the natural light of human reason. Human reason. I want to be like truly reasonable. I just want the truth, true justice, true transparency, and the truth, 100% truth. All right. It teaches that it is through his revelation that religious truths that are by their nature accessible to human reason can be known by all people with ease, with solid certitude, and with no trace of error, even in the present state of the human race. All right, we're going to pick up on 7, apostles and their successors. We're going to meditate a little bit and cool off. Got a lot of homework we still need to do. Managerial Accounting, question 3. Save that. 3 hours. Let me just for like cut. Move this over there. All right. We'll be back in momentarily.